Hey everybody, I'm Dan Bespris, the host of Fantasy NBA Today, Hoopball's flagship full-season fantasy podcast. We cover every piece of news, every mock draft, every rank list, pickups, drops, buy lows, sell highs, and every sleeper candidate all year long, Monday through Friday. Come check us out. We're Fantasy NBA Today, and you can follow me on Twitter for updates at Dan Bespris, DANBESBRIS. We'll talk to you soon.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Ball DFS Today. I'm your host, Santino Cacone, and I'm joined today by... Oh, wait, I am not. I was supposed to be joined by the golden child, Michael Apatria, but he had some technical difficulties with his computer overheating. That's what you get for Apple products, guys. They do tend to die out on you when you least expect it. But I'm going to run this one solo without him, so let's see what we can do. It is currently about 10:30 at night on Tuesday, July 28th. You guys will hear this early in the morning, probably on Wednesday, July 29th. This is Eastern time, but let's go over some news. We got a couple teams to hit before we end on the bubble. We got some news and some shakeups that happened before that, and then on Thursday the NBA starts back up, and we're all excited for that. We get our first day's slate, our first game slate. We have 2 games on that night. We'll be back with Mike and Aaron starting things off for your DFS life, and we can't wait to get started again, to have actual pricing, have actual meaningful basketball games. This is going to be exciting. And the bubble looks like it's working a lot better than some other sports right now. We won't mention them, the MLB, but the bubble looks like it's doing work. And Adam Silver, if this does work, Adam Silver deserves a ton of credit for how he handled this entire situation. And so did all the NBA players and all the NBA owners. They immediately started talking about, how do we finish this? How can we get this going? How can we get back? How can we play? And they did not stop. They did around-the-clock work, and it's looking good so far. We haven't had any games played, but so far all the scrimmages, there's no virus in that bubble. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't burst. That's all we can hope for. But let's see. There's some big news that happened in the last couple days since the last time you heard us. Eric Gordon tonight just got hurt. They think it's pretty bad, but we won't fully know yet. Eric Gordon, I don't know if you guys know, but he was actually going to be starting from now on in that starting lineup. He was coming off the bench or trying to scatter him with Russell Westbrook, but they were just throwing all 3 of those guys together and truly embracing the small ball. Aaron Gordon is not playing. He had some groin soreness. He did have some core problems earlier in this year and last year, so that is something to watch about. Groin and the core muscle are pretty much right next to each other and could be the same injury. So that's something to keep an eye on. And his counterpart at power forward, or his teammate, I should say, Jonathan Isaac, is back and looking good. So if Aaron Gordon is not playing and Jonathan Isaac is playing 25, 30 minutes or so with no Aaron Gordon there, that's going to shift a lot of DFS target and a lot of DFS play and money the other way around. We thought Aaron Gordon might have that whole role. We weren't sure if Isaac would play. This is throwing a little wrench into things, as you could say. A couple other news. I mentioned it last time I was on here. If you were listening, Kendrick Nunn, Bam Adebayo are both back. We hit the Heat, and they were still nowhere to be found, but they're back now. Darren Fox looking like he's going to play. Another guy that didn't look like he was going to play, and the Kings got hit with him and Bagley. They were looking down, but Fox looks like he's going to play. Fred VanVleet got hurt the other day. He is healthy. Jusuf Nurkic is looking strong. I got to say, Jusuf Nurkic looks strong, and they're going to try that 2-big lineup with him and Whiteside. Zion Williamson played some practice today with some 5-on-0. He didn't do the 5-on-5, but He's back, and it looks like he should be on track to play. I don't know how many minutes, but he should be on track to play that opening night Thursday against the Jazz. So that's something to look about. If he's not going to get a full complement of minutes, then you want to fade Zion. But we'll see what happens in the next 2 days and see what Alvin Gentry and everybody says about Zion's availability and how many minutes he'll handle. There are some other news and noteworthy stuff that we'll definitely get to when the slates kick off and we have some pricing and we have some more concrete information. But those are just some quick hitters right there. If you were listening, we hit 20 teams already. We have 22. There's 2 teams left to go. And if you're paying attention on the teams that we didn't hit, you'll know that we left the 2 best teams in the league right now. And I say 2 best because they're the 2 top teams in the standings. We left the Milwaukee Bucks and we left the LA Lakers. These are the 2 teams we're going to hit. These are the 2 teams that everybody thinks will meet in the finals. I hope at least one of those teams is in the finals, and in the latter, the guys out west. Those are my guys. I'm a fan of them. But this is going to be interesting. So let's talk about these 2 good teams, these 2 favorites, I should say, to not only make the championship, but the 2 most likely teams to win the championship. So we'll start out in the East, or the Midwest, I guess, with the Milwaukee Bucks. And let's talk about some news that has gone on with the Bucks throughout this whole offseason, throughout this whole bubble, and what we should expect. So Eric Bledsoe wasn't with the team up until about a week ago or so, because he had COVID and he was not with the team. He's back now. He hasn't really scrimmaged too much, but he's back now and he's supposedly healthy. One thing to watch about with Eric Bledsoe, I'm getting the Erics mixed up already. The butcher strikes again. But one thing to watch out with Eric Bledsoe is he going to play a full complement of minutes? And that's something that most of these Bucks guys are going to be. But a guy who didn't really practice too much yet, was away from the team with the virus. It's good. It doesn't look like, to me, I don't know if he's going to get a full complement right out of the gate. So I would be on the lookout for that. The other big news out there is Chris Middleton. He said he did not play or shoot a basketball for 2 to 3 months during the off time. If you're counting, there was we stopped playing in mid-March. That's 4 months ago. So he didn't play or shoot for more than half of that time. So just so if you're keeping track, Chris Middleton cost a pretty penny because he has been awesome this year. And if Giannis sits or doesn't have a full complement of minutes, which is more than likely, this team is locked into the 1 seed, you would gravitate towards Chris Middleton. But that news is big news. If you don't touch a basketball for 2 to 3 months, that says a lot. Are you in shape? How are you going to go? Is he going to be rested as well? So this Bucks team, those 2 things are pretty big. To me, I don't see the Bucks having that much to play for. As I mentioned, they're already the number 1 team out east, and they have a 4-game lead on the Lakers right now, or 3-game lead on the Lakers, 2 in the loss column. So they're pretty much looking like the number 1 team. And there is no home court advantage anymore since they're in the bubble in Orlando, so it doesn't even matter if they finish below the Lakers. They have a 6.5-game lead against the Raptors who are the number 2 seed. There is pretty much no way that the Bucks can't finish as the number 1 seed. So what they're doing is looking to play whoever makes that 8th seed, most likely the Nets, unless they just fall apart with all the bad news Bears per se people that they have on their team. But the Bucks are looking to cruise into the 1 seed and have an easy first-round matchup and avenge what happened last year. They need some playoff success. People are getting on Giannis for some reason. He's only 26 years old right now. But people want to see Giannis in the playoffs and get farther than the Eastern Conference Finals. Just a quick note on that, though. Giannis made the Eastern Conference Finals at the age of 25. Michael Jordan, the farthest he made by the age of 25 was also the Eastern Conference Finals. Just some food for thought. Don't rank on an elite player as like Giannis, once in a specimen like him, just because he hasn't done so much in the playoffs. He's only 25 years old. It's going to come. But yeah, so the people on the Bucks that you're going to want to look about in DFS are pretty much the people that I've mentioned. Giannis is number one. He costs the most. His minutes restriction and his likely of curbing of those minutes is something that is going to bump him down for me personally, definitely lower from that top tier. There's people like James Harden and Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis who are all in similar price ranges, who I think are going to play more minutes, especially those first two in Harden and Luka, who are battling for playoff spots. So Giannis to me is a guy that you're going to have to pay up for, but that minutes restriction, and he also said that he wasn't ready to play a full complement of minutes yet. He's still getting his conditioning back. Anytime a player says that, and there's only 8 games, and you could afford to rest these guys, I don't see them pushing him. So that's something to keep an eye on. Chris Middleton, I just mentioned, he didn't shoot for 2 to 3 months during the break. That says to me, is he ready for a full complement of minutes? And just like everybody else on this team, they don't need to push him. They just got to get him ready for the playoffs. Eric Bledsoe, we mentioned he wasn't with the team for that much. He had COVID. He might not play a full complement of minutes. Brook Lopez possibly could play a lot of minutes, but he only played 26 minutes on average this season. So he's probably going to play around there. So all of these people that you normally would target on the Bucks, to me, I'm dropping them just a little bit. I got to see them play first before I can go into them. And the first game of the season, or the restart of the season, they're playing against the Celtics, who Giannis normally would dominate because he can rebound and the Celtics can't rebound. But this, to me, I'm cause for concern with this minutes restriction or minutes limit that I can see. Then they play the Rockets, the Nets. The Rockets look like a very fun matchup. The Nets look like a blowout where they can just play their bench. They play the Heat, the Mavs, the Raptors, the Wizards, another blowout. The Grizzlies, probably blowout. So this team, there's a lot of value is going to come off the bench if you're playing people here. The first guy to look at, Dante Divincenzo. If Middleton, Bledsoe, and Giannis are getting a little less minutes, Divincenzo can play the 1, 2, or 3, and he can easily get thrown in there and play some minutes. He's young. They want to get him some seasoning and look at that. So he's a guy that I would look at if I need a cheap play, and I know that one of those big guys are going to get less minutes. And he's probably the most likely of the bench players to bring back value. Maybe George Hill, but he's also a very aged veteran that they're probably not going to play him too much. Same with Marvin Williams. They're probably going to split all those minutes. DiVincenzo, to me, would be the guy who gets the most of the minutes and usage comparatively to everybody else if they're going with that resting of the starters. So there's really not much of a shakeup to the Bucks. You just got to watch those minutes and see what Coach Bud does. I can't personally have faith in them right out of the get-go, but we'll see when we get the pricing back. That's kind of all I had on the Bucks. I mean, they're just too dominant. They don't have when you're this dominant and you just dominate everybody, it mostly is value to a certain amount of people. And when we have questions about how many minutes they're going to play, are they fatigued? Does this team even care about these 8 games? That's when we kind of don't know where we're going with this team. I think DiVincenzo has the best value of the people other than the big starters, but we can see there. Maybe Robin Lopez gets some extra minutes there as well, and he can bring back some really cheap, ugly value that I'm not trying to target. But if you're in a pinch and you only have a few dollars left, then you can look at them. So before we hit the Lakers, I got to shout out some stuff that we got going on here. Hoopball has some good things going on here. If you haven't heard by now about Manscaped, you should. So Manscaped, they're giving away a nice, cheap lawnmower 3.0 if you go on their site and put Hoopball 20. The lawnmower 3.0 is absolutely fantastic. I have one myself. It is like a lawnmower. They are not lying. This thing just mows down everything and doesn't leave you. It looks like you did it with ease, and that's a good thing. You never have any of those razor burns, nothing. This lawnmower 3 doesn't ever run short. The battery lasts forever. You're going to want this thing, and you're going to want it now. And go on manscaped.com and enter the promo code HoopBall20. And this is an exciting time for all hoopball fans and all sports betting fans. So say it with me now. Sports are back, baby. I've been waiting for this day since March. And now that it's here, I've only got one thing on my mind. MyBookie. Hoopball is partnered with MyBookie now, and MyBookie is a home run, a slam dunk, triple overtime, game-winning shot all wrapped up into one. I love it. You all should love it. And that should be all you need to hear in order to start betting today. MyBookie has up-to-the-minute odds on all your favorite teams. And with the start of the NBA bubble season just around the corner, there's never been a better time to start playing. With MyBookie, it's easy. You bet, you win, they pay you. Just like that. Feeling good about your MLB team's chances to win? Be sure to check out MyBookie's World Series future bets, as long as you're not a Marlins fan. That is. Nothing shows you believe in your squad like betting on them before the season's even begun. But why stop with baseball, guys? Smart bettors are always looking towards the future. And in this case, that means basketball. That means hockey. That means football. MyBookie is already accepting bets on all your favorite NBA, NHL, and NFL games. There's never been a better time to start exploring the world of online sports betting. Join today and MyBookie will match your deposit 100%. Yes, I'll say that again. Join today and MyBookie will match your deposit 100%. Plus, they'll toss you a free $10 MLB future wager. So this is just all great value after great value. And all you have to do when you go there is enter the promo code HOOPBALL when you're signing up. That's HOOPBALL. And you get 100% of your deposit matched and a free $10 MLB future wager. So remember, at MyBookie, the terms are simple. You bet, you win, they pay. And guys, I got to tell you, I'm super excited for MyBookie. If you're a sports guy or you're a betting guy, whether it's $15 or $500, whatever the case may be, if you like to bet large or big or small, MyBookie is the way to go. And again, 100% of your deposit gets matched. And if you want some betting tips, we got some at Hoopball Gaming. We got some stuff going on there. We got the great Ira, who's giving out value play and nice betting lines every day. If you want to listen to the podcast, shout out there. It goes hand in hand right there. You listen to the podcast, you get some very good tips. You go to MyBookie, you make some money. Then you go to the DFS site, you make some money there. We're giving at Hoopball. We like to give away. We're nice guys here, we should say. But yeah, so back to the NBA. After we got my betting fix out of the way, I had to get MyBookie out of there just get that itch off, because I'm itching to bet some sports back, especially basketball. I love betting on basketball. I shouldn't say that. That's not a good thing, but it's pretty fun for me. So yeah, let's go back to the NBA favorites. Yes, I'm saying the NBA favorites. It's only me on the show. Mike he lost out on commenting on that when his computer ran up and he had some technical difficulties. So I'm going to bask in the glory that I am given all by myself to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. And before everybody starts turning off the show and say he's just another Laker fan, obnoxious, annoying, he just complains. No, I'll tell you, I'm going to be straight as I can be. To me, the NBA champion is coming out of LA. It might not be the Lakers. I hope it is. Or it could be the Clippers. I think they're the two best teams in the league, and whoever wins that matchup, if it happens, is going to be the NBA champion. A dark horse out there is the Nuggets. They're very deep. They're so deep. But at the top, this is a star-driven league, and at the top, you want those Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and Kawhi Leonards, and Paul Georges. Out east, I'll give out my prediction. People like the Bucks. People like the Celtics, the Raptors. I think sleeper out there is the Sixers, and that's who I'm thinking can make it out there. I like the Sixers and the Celtics as my top two teams out in the East. So I'm a little different than most guys out there. We'll see how the matchups play. Maybe the Sixers and Celtics wind up playing each other. As is right now, they would, but I think that the Sixers are going to creep up and maybe get that 4 seed. or even 5 seed and avoid the Celtics, and they wind up making it against each other. But I would like to see Giannis in the finals. When people talk about his playoff failures for some reason, he's only been where he is now. He's only reached his peak, and he's still continuing to grow, guys. But it's only been a couple years, so give the guy some time, and we'll see what happens. So if he wants to make it and ruins my betting, that I already threw some my bookie bets on the Sixers with that future bet. I like those odds, but if he wants to ruin them, and I see Giannis do good, I'm all for it. But let's get back to the Lakers. Let's get this ship back on track here. I went on some little rambling, so that's what happens. Sorry about that. But the Lakers' schedule looks like this. They play on opening night, which is Thursday, and they play the other LA team, who I just mentioned, in the Clippers. That is going to be a big game. That's going to be very telling. But it also could be just a mirage, as I don't know if both teams are going to go full bore in that first game back after such a long layoff. I know they've been playing a little bit, these scrimmages and whatnot, but I don't think they go full bore against each other, especially with the Lakers having a 5.5 game lead. The Clippers realistically cannot make that 1 seed. Let's be real. With 8 games, they're not going to get the 1 seed. So I don't see either team going full bore, though it could happen. So we'll see. And especially on a 2-game slate, you're going to have to get some of those guys anyway and hope for the best. But after that, the Lakers are playing the Raptors, another really good defensive team. One of the best defensive teams in the league at stopping the three-point shot, and one of the best teams at making the three-point shot, oddly enough. And then they play the Jazz, a very slow-paced team, another good defense. So that's 3 really good defenses right in a row. Then the Thunder, another pretty good team, pretty good defense. And then the Rockets, who we know what they're trying to do, but we don't know why. That small ball lineup they took small ball to an entirely new level. Then we got the Indiana Pacers most likely without Domantas Sabonis. We heard that they don't think he's going to play. I didn't think he was going to come back, but Coach McMillan says that he doesn't expect him to return they expect him to be out all bubble, which makes sense. Like that's a tough injury. But then after the Nuggets, after the Pacers, it's the Nuggets. Very, very good team. Pacers are very deep, or the Nuggets are very deep, and it's going to be a good matchup. And then the Kings, who might be out at that point and just throwing whoever is out there. And I don't even think the Lakers will try in that one. They'll be gearing up for the playoffs down there. So let's look at the Lakers. Just like the Bucks, well, the Bucks have a different usage. There's a couple other people that you can play, but the Lakers is pretty much 2 people. There is LeBron James at a 32% usage and Anthony Davis at a 29% usage. That's it. Those are the 2 guys. They're expensive and super expensive for a reason. They're all-stars for a reason. They're all NBA for a reason. They're 2 of the top 5 best players in the league for a reason. After that, you have a Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Alex Caruso, Danny Green, all these people. But LeBron and AD are the top dogs. And I forgot to say the couple things that are different about the Lakers now. So Avery Bradley opted out, as we all know, or now we know. They signed J.R. Smith to a contract. Super excited about that. I know most Laker fans and other people are saying, J.R. Smith, why'd they go for him? I like J.R. Smith. The guy can shoot. The guy's funny to be around. He can be a hardworking player. I shouldn't say he is. He can be, but he's a guy. You always need shooters. If you can shoot in this league, you can get a job. And this guy has proven that he can make big shots. He's done it throughout his career. Yes, he had that gaffe in the finals, but get over it. This guy's a talent. He's talented, and he'll take some minutes and make up for losing Avery Bradley. They signed Dion Waiters prior to everything shutting down. He's been looking good in the scrimmages, and I hope that we get the Dion Waiters that wants to continue to try at basketball or life and stay in shape. Markief Morris just returned to the team. He's with all these new signings, he wasn't playing much anyway. He's just another veteran body that you want on a playoff team. If you're not playing really well at some time, you throw him in there, throw him to guard someone, take some fouls on Kawhi Leonard or whatnot. But it's another good body to have. But the big news is Rajon Rondo broke his thumb. He was projected to be out 6 to 8 weeks when it happened, and they said he won't play at the start of the NBA restart. I'm a little familiar with Rondo, watching him beat the Lakers, lose to the Lakers, play for the Lakers. This guy is super tough. I don't think a broken thumb is going to completely keep him out of this NBA restart. If I had to call it, Rajon Rondo, assuming the Lakers get to the finals or one of the Western Conference Finals or Finals, Rajon Rondo will be back on the basketball court before this season concludes. He's tough as nails. A couple weeks already went by. I think he beats that timetable anyway, but I see Rajon Rondo gearing up for the playoffs. Probably not the first round. They don't need him. Maybe not even the second, but when it gets to them and the Clippers, most likely, I see Rajon Rondo getting healthy there. So that's something else to look out for. But back to the DFS side. Guys, it's LeBron James. It's Anthony Davis. If you want to get cute and play Kyle Kuzma because you think LeBron James and Anthony Davis are going to rest, or if one of them do rest, then Kyle Kuzma gets to be someone maybe to look at. But with them on the court, he just doesn't play well with them. And Kuzma is just not – he doesn't fit with them, and he's not someone I would actively target. If they're not playing, I would rather target a cheaper guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Many Laker fans hated KCP earlier this year and even last year. This guy can shoot. He's the most consistent three-point shooter on this team, and it's not that close. So he's a guy that I like, and he's always been able to rack up steals when he gets minutes. Another guy I would look at a little is if they're not playing, Dwight Howard, if you need a cheap center option. JaVale McGee is probably going to be limited, I would assume, until the playoffs start. He wasn't playing too much anyway. J.R. Smith's another guy to look at, as with Danny Green. J.R. Smith more so because J.R. Smith is never afraid to shoot. Danny Green's more of a team player, two-way player. J.R. Smith, if you're giving him 30 minutes, this guy's going to shoot any shot you want him to take. He's never been shy about shooting, and that's something that's admirable, to say the least. A guy that even when he's 0 for 15, he's going to take that 16th shot. He's going to take that 17th shot. And in DFS, if you got someone who's not afraid to shoot the ball, especially, again, if one of those two big guys are sitting out, that's someone you're going to look at because he's not going to cost you a lot, but he's someone to just pay attention to. And the last guy I would mention to look at with or without the big guys is Alex Caruso. Without Rajon Rondo, he's going to get a little bit more minutes. It's LeBron James point guard. He is the point guard on this team, but Caruso's probably going to get some love in DFS. But again, those guys are all Hail Mary options that I would not want to put some big dollars on unless I know LeBron or AD are only going to play a certain amount of minutes or not play at all. If those two guys are playing and they're playing 30 or more minutes, there's really no one on this team, just like the Bucks, that you want to target besides these two big guys, and that's why we save these two teams for last, because they're the most unsexy teams in terms of DFS, but in real life, they get the job done. So yeah, if you were paying attention to us, we had about 6 podcasts. We covered all 22 teams, and we are getting ready. We tried to get you a virtual tour and get you ready for the start of the NBA Bubble Resumption League that is hopping back up on Thursday. So we are getting our first taste of slates, and I cannot wait. If you guys jump back on here on Thursday morning when you're doing your early morning commute and you want to listen to us, you'll be hearing Mike Capatria, assuming he can get his computer fixed, and the great Aaron for the first show of our Resumption League, and I can't wait. If you guys have been paying attention, we have a lot of turnover in this DFS team, including myself. I've been on Hoopball, but I joined the DFS team for the Resumption League. We also have Aaron, who I just mentioned, is joining for the Resumption League. And then for the future, we have Brenton, who's a newbie. We have Steve, who's a newbie. We have Dave, who's been here for a little bit, and Mike, who's holding the fort down. But this team is changing, and it's going to be a good one. And I can't wait to see the great things that everybody does. And I can't wait for you guys to give us all that feedback and tell us all the money that we won you. So thank you for tuning in. And next time you hear us, you will have a slate. You will have prices, and you will have NBA regular season basketball. So from all of us here at Hoopball and all of our great Hoopball podcasts, team podcasts, our NBA Today podcast with Dan, the Coz and Brew Show, our NBA gaming podcasts, all of us here at the Hoopball community, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a good night.
This has been a Hoopball presentation.